Hello everyone, today we're going to be playing Katawa Shoujo. Let's get right into
I
it.
feel very tired this morning, probably because yesterday itself was a very tiring day. On top of that, I woke up far earlier than necessary. After saying hi to Susan and Misha, I started doing the work as instructed from the board. It already looks like today is going to be heavy. I don't have a problem with that now, though. Susan and Misha might jump on me trying to get an answer about whether or not I've decided to join the student council, even if it's just one day. I wouldn't put it past them to try and don't have an answer for them if they do, so this situation is convenient for me. About 10 minutes into class, Hanaka walks in and takes a seat, but no one looks at her. The teacher doesn't even comment on her lateness. He does, however, stop us to say that we're going to break into groups again. I'd really like to apologize to her. I don't know if that's better or worse, or if it's just for myself or what. I don't know. Should I just leave her be? I turn my head to see that Shizune and Misha are looking at me. Shizune gives me a smile that is equal parts cute and menacing. This is a smile that says, "We have you now. There is no escape." Hee-chan, it looks like we're together again. Yay, yay! Misha leans sideways while Shizune pushes her desk closer to mine. There's really no escape now unless I were to jump through the window. Jumping out the window isn't the best option, sadly. What's wrong, Hee-chan? Oh, Hee-chan, are you been thinking about what you said yesterday? You said that you would think about joining the student council, didn't you? It's okay, Hee-chan. We were talking about it after you left, and it would be rude to expect you already have an answer for us this early, right? Right. I'm so happy you two are able to have a laugh at my expense. Even more pleased to know that you both know how crazy the two of you can be. Now that that's over, Shizune snaps back into a serious mode and smacks today's assignment with the back of her hand in an overly dramatic and important way. When I actually look at the stuff, it's mostly just reading. In fact, there's only two problems. I almost want to say something about how her rush to get started seems a bit much, considering the small amount of work. In fact, Shizune probably knows how little there is and simply doesn't care. Yeah, it seems like the workload doesn't matter to her as much as the fact that there is work. The actual amount is unimportant. She approaches everything with the same level of ambition. While I'm reading, I let my eyes wander around the room and catch Naka trying her hand at solving the problems. It looks like she's working alone. I can't remember seeing her working with other people before. Thinking back on how shy she is, it's understandable. Hey, that girl over there. Huh? Who, Hee-chan? Her, Hanako, over there. Does she always work alone? I think so. Hee-chan, do you feel sorry for her because she's alone? I was just thinking that maybe she could work with us or something. No, I don't think that would be a good idea, Hee-chan. That might be very overwhelming for her. Why not? Hee-chan wouldn't get along with her. Wait, what? Why? Misha shuffles around the question, letting out a laugh that sounds very strange. It's nervous, but still has that lifting up and down quality present in everything she says. Just because, Hee-chan. By now, Suzune has noticed our conversation, and it makes me realize again how Misha has been signing everything she has been saying this whole time. What, Shi-chan? The friend of my enemy is my enemy? That sounds so harsh. I'm not going to say that. Well, you said it anyway. I know, Hee-chan. It's fine if you overhear. I wonder if this is Misha's way of keeping things fair, since without her, I wouldn't be able to understand things Shizune is saying, and vice versa. It's also why she signs all the time, so there is never a conversation Shizune will be left out of. Anyway, we should start on the problem now, Hee-chan. We finished the time to spare, and I decide to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria. Frankly, the food so far has been subpar. This since Shizune and Misha arguing amongst themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. And what about the bill? Are they arguing just for fun of it? Maybe. They seem to be so distracted by it that they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. I look over my shoulder towards the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an odd sight. Everyone else in the class is busying themselves with the lunch break. Socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks, the ones with actual boxed lunches mixed in and chattering like everyone else, only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels like I'm the only one who gets to see her, almost as if she was invisible, sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think of it, she hasn't turned a page since I started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. What to do? Read my book, go talk with Hanako, wait for Shizune and Misha to come to a decision. I'm gonna go talk to her. I still feel bad for making her run away yesterday, so I'd better say something. At least want to apologize. Hey there, Hanako. Hey, Sao! Well, at least she remembers my name. Hey, I just want to apologize for yesterday. I didn't mean to startle you or anything. I'm just new here and thought I should get to know my classmates. As Hanako looks up at me, I notice her scarring once more. It's a little bewildering that you can barely notice it across the room, but it's so noticeable from up close. Don't look too long, man. That's okay. Oh, she noticed you looking. It was my fault. Nah, that wasn't anyone's fault. It just kind of happened. So are you waiting for someone? Saw you looking at the door before? Yes, Lily. Oh, you mean Lily's blind girl? Hanako only nods in response. I can't help but wonder if defining people through their disability is a faux pas, so the worst kind of just normal here. Yeah, you could say the blonde, wavy girl that was there yesterday or something. I guess that explains why Lily took off after her yesterday. She seems like a nice girl. Are you two friends? Yes. Oh, okay. So she's open to having friends. That's good to know. As if hoping for Lily to appear, she checks over her shoulder again. I think I'm making her nervous again. I hope I'm not disturbing you right now. No, that's not it. It's just easier if Lily doesn't come here. Oh, because it's hard to get around the classroom? Not really. Hanako's gaze drifts past my shoulder and towards Shizune. Shizune? Hanako nods again. What about her? Don't they get along? Hanako shakes her head. Clearly there's something she doesn't want to talk about. Oh, they don't get along? It does make a strange sort of sense. Shizune and Lily not getting along so well. Communication between the two would be all but impossible. It's hard enough talking to Shizune through Misha, even when you can see whose hands are talking. Hanako was so focused on Shizune that I am the first to notice Lily at the door. And all that you would really need to do is, like, when they talk, the girl who translates, like, she could be still listening to what the other girl is saying. And, they could just, like, mention that it is her, and so she can respond, and then she can sign. It's just her eyes, and, it's just that she can't see her or see what she's signing, but that she has a translator. There is still a way to talk to her. This would have to be a little bit done differently, you know what I mean? Hanako is so focused on Shizune that I am the first to notice Lily at the door. Oh, she's here now. Hanako spins around to confirm this. Upon seeing Lily, she moves quickly to the door. Lily! Hanako, good morning. Is the president here? Yes. Oh, Hanako glances over her shoulder at Shizune again, as if to confirm she can't hear them, even though that's impossible. I don't know, they seem almost on edge about her, and Shizune seems like she kind of doesn't like them in any way, shape, or form. I suppose we'd best be off then. Lily sighed in a tone of what seems like frustration makes me raise an eyebrow. I guess there's some kind of enmity between the two. It's intriguing, but that's not really something I'd ask about. I'm sure if they wanted me to know, then they would tell me. It's only my third day here. I should be trying to make friends, not finding out why people are enemies. Still, it's a little funny to find out that this school has little feuds, just like my old high school. I mean, it's just a regular school, man. Even if schools are more tolerant of others, we're still going to get on each other's nerves. You're still people, man. You're still gonna have, disputes and stuff, people not getting along. Hey Lily, how are things? I'm sorry I made you run off yesterday. Oh my, is that Hisao? I didn't realize you were here. It seems that Lily is a little embarrassed about being so frank in front of me. But sorry Lily, I thought you realized. No, it's alright Hanako. Please, don't be worried about yesterday. It was a misunderstanding. If you say so, I'm still working this place out. Well then, I think you'll find most people here a lot more forgiving than elsewhere. If you're feeling a little confused, please don't be afraid to ask questions. Sure, I'll remember that. Lily. Lily gives a small nod of an acknowledgement. I'm sorry, Hisao, but we must be off. Hisako really doesn't look all that comfortable here right now. Lily seems a little embarrassed. Wonder if my apologies really made any impact. Mind if I accompany you two? I know I'm kind of pushing it, but Lily is quietly still smiling. I'm sure that we could accommodate you, can't we, Hanako? She looks at Lily, then at me, and then freezes wide-eyed. Sure. Well then, shall we go? I'm sure Lily wouldn't do this so easily if she saw how scared Hanako looks, but it can't be helped now. Declining after the deal is sealed would only cause confusion and problems. So we leave all three together. Lily walks beside the wall, letting her cane gently tap against it every now and then. Hanako comes along right beside her, so close that she's practically half hugging her as they go. Although it must make her walking that much harder, Lily takes it in stride. As we turn around the corner on the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of the steam train. Hanako shrieks a little, and my vision briefly goes black. What in the world? Ouch! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. Hey, girl. They belong to the perpetrator's short girl who bumped into me and has now fallen down on the hallway floor. Are you good? She wore the PE uniform and very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during lunch break. And more striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have legs. Or she does, but they are not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs and shins and feet begin to make some black metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. What? The girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up. Oh man, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really. As long as you're okay, girl. I wasn't looking where I was going. You just came out of nowhere. Sorry. She looks really apologetic, in a hurt puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything since hurt puppies are my weak spot. It's okay, don't worry about it. Ouch. Oh no, my chest. I say that, but there is a stinging pain growing in my chest, and I know that this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't ever exert yourself. Don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. Yeah. I try to rub my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. This seems normal. Hey, should I get a nurse? The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stare at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realized I probably looked worse off than I really was, doubling over myself and looked all tense. Man, I really worried about my heart. No need, I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, pull myself upright, feeling my sore rib one last time, and take a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me, big time, but it's nothing more than that. You sure you're okay? Maybe pretty hard. It's okay. I was fine. Nothing broken, no harm done. That's good. Hey, so what happened? She was not quite up to speed for obvious reasons, but she sounded very worried, more than what the situation deserves, really. Someone just bumped into me. Nothing serious, just winded. Sorry, it's my fault. I was just going to get some help, but I was in a kind of hurry. That someone here is Emmy, isn't it? The little girl coughs quietly and shows her plastic or metallic feet, looking down at them before saying anything. Hi, Lily, Hanako. I guess the girls know each other. Do please try to be more careful. You might be sturdy enough to endure these sorts of accidents, but there are people who aren't. The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. It's so cute, find myself smiling. I know that. I gotta go. Teacher, I'll have my head. I promised to help with printouts, but I went running instead. Sorry, I've got to change and everything. Bye. Before any of us can say a thing, Emmy has already bolted away, leaving the hallway eerily quiet. Does that kind of thing happen often around here? There are more rules in Yamaku than usual for running in corridors. But that really stops Emmy, it seems. She shakes her head weakly and offers a slight composed smile. I don't think there's anything we can do to stop her, I'm afraid. Shall we be off then? Oh yeah, she went running off again. Lily heads off along the hallway and Hanako hurries after her. They're out to the room. So the two of us for tea is fairly simple to retrace, being still fresh in my mind from yesterday. Lily and Hanako quickly go about their business for making lunch. Before I can even open my small bag of food, Lily's busying herself with her thermos and tea bag, while Hanako is setting out both their lunchboxes. So, is this what you meant by coming here almost every day? Yes, Hanako and I usually have lunch here. It suits both of us, so we ended up using this room regularly. After seeing Hanako's reactions to me over the past couple of days, I can understand what this is, why this is a boon? I don't know what that means. That and Lily being able to get some quiet away from her class as well. I take my seat last after Lily's poured the tea for us and sits down. The more time I spend with these two girls, the more I think they're perfect foil to Misha and Shizune. Even without a voice, Shizune is direct and brash, and Misha seems to get along with everyone. On the other hand, Lily is soft-spoken and relaxed, while Hanako seems to be the shyest girl I've ever met. So how are you faring in Yamaku Hisao? You seemed a bit flustered before. Apart from getting lost every now and then and being crash-tackled outside my classroom, fine, I guess. You look pretty hurt before. Are you really okay? For a brief moment, I considered telling Hanako and Lily about my condition, but then I hold it back. I can't tell why, but for some reason I feel uncomfortable about talking about it to these relative strangers, even if they have been pretty friendly. Yeah, it's nothing. I just a bit startled. Judging from the two girls' expressions, I don't think that they're buying it, but in what I assume is their way of respecting my privacy, they don't press the matter. I guess that is one of the unwritten rules around here. Don't ask. Even if people's conditions are obvious, like Hanako's, there's still bound to be a story involved. Everyone has things that they don't feel comfortable speaking about, and I think everyone here recognizes that. So, how long have you been in this school? You both seem to know your way around pretty well. Well, I've been here since the start of high school, but only moved into the dormitories a year ago. Hanako joined at the start of high school as well, and moved to the dormitories when she did, if memory serves me right. That's right, since high school. So you've known each other since then? Since I moved, yes. Hanako lives next door to me, so it's only natural, right? Oh, your neighbors? Right. Yeah, of course. Living next to someone is probably reason enough to befriend them, although I'm guessing that Lily's blindness played a part in it as well. I can't imagine Hanako easily making friends with someone who has to deliberately avoid looking at her scars. Do you really have to deliberately do it? Can't you just naturally do that? With an immediate conversation dried up, we start to eat our lunch. It isn't long before the bells are signaling the end of the break. Like me, the girls pack up their lunches as effectively as they set them out. I guess I'd better be off. Are you going to go with Hisao, Hanako? Hanako looks up at me, and for a second I can see that she's considering skipping class, maybe just to avoid walking to the classroom with me. Yes. I don't know what to think of it. Hanako really is delicate to the point of breaking if looked at in the wrong way. It makes me a bit nervous too, but I push the feeling aside, trying to be as natural as I can. We should hurry then. Class has already started by the sound of it. Lily gives a nod of farewell as she bends down to take her cane, Hanako and I filing out before her. We walk quietly down the empty halls to our respective classes. As we reach the door to Lily's 3-2 classroom, she turns towards me. Hisao, thank you for sharing lunch with us today. My pleasure, Lily. And with that, we part ways, Lily entering the classroom and leaving Hanako and me to make off on our own. She's still looking like she wants to run away. So, do you really want to go back to class now? Yes. Okay then. I feel like I should say something more to her, but it's hard to come up with anything that would be appropriate and safe enough. And Lily was right. The more time we spend out here, the more explaining we have to do. I open the rear door to the class and walk in. The teacher looks up at me and opens his mouth to say something. However, as Hanako follows me in and closes the door, he simply nods to us and continues his lecture. This is the third time that Hanako has had her truancy practically ignored. There's definitely something going on here. Mystery? We made our way to our seats, and I noticed that Misha and Shizune are both missing as well. What? I wonder if it's of some form of informal agreement with the staff, or it's just a perk of affording to the unique students of the school. Trying to make as little disturbance as I can, I extract the relevant textbooks from my bag and start catching up. The class goes on quietly. The teacher seems like an okay person despite that weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. Oh, that's a bad way to teach. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital, I had 24 hours of free time, but here, filling the considerable shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Utao is examining the assignment sheet we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his paper briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there's nobody else around. Nothing. Thinking about what to do after school. The teacher slowly puts on the cap of the pen he is holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I am reminded of Shiznei, but the teacher's more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I consider joining a club, but don't know which kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest. I guess. I don't know how to continue from there. Muto looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation, but I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people, I mean the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not that I'd be totally isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about the disabilities. It feels like I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Doomed if I do, doomed if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you make them one. Very true. You can talk normally with someone, even if they're blind or something. Try to look beyond the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. Like himself, yes. He says the same thing as Hugo did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako. It's not like you can ignore her face. What are you talking about, man? But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hands straight in enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to make the dead from her graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with a bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slips in his chair. Mikado. Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as if she's sensing from his tone that something is wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We have talked about volume control before. Yes, but she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So what is it? We need your help. We're running out of supplies for festival stands. This is a distress. She waved this pink slip of paper she's holding around. So go get some more supplies from the art room. What's the point with that? What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more. It was only a little, but this time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's none left there. So do you know and there's some? I don't understand. How would I know? The president, thought that a teacher would know if there's plywood. Was she wrong? Muto looks like he is in great pain, frowning his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open and while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. I'm afraid I have no idea if there is any plywood in the school. I don't know where it would be if there was any. What should I do? Perhaps try to find Nomiya? I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold, dead hands, but that's a different matter. I don't have time. We're so busy. She holds her head with both her hands, looking as despairing as it's possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples to the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do with falling behind the schedule. Muto looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it would be better if he didn't. That's rude. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. He switched to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression of his trying to say, go make some friends. I guess I could give you a hand. You can. Thanks, Hee-chan. You're really nice. She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her finger, yelping, and looks very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Hee-chan doing here? Class is over. You should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, isn't it? Are you in trouble, Hee-chan? No, I'm not. It's Hee-chan in trouble, teacher. No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply, and I feel that I have to keep Misha to get her off. I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. So what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you, but this has no implications on whether I'm joining the council or not. Aw. Still, thanks, Hajaan. Try to be quick. We're in a stall building streak now. We must hurry, hurry, hurry! She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other. It was something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that's undoubtedly Shizune's, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. Classrooms closest to ours are designated belongings to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms I didn't think were used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept, if not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room, a thin layer of dust settling on them. There are some easels in the corners, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody home? Something catches my eye and I stop mid-sentence. Hello, how you doing? Sitting on the desk is a short-haired girl curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. The odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in highlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. The weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello? The girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth and now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here for some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? You have a point there. She raises her eyebrows as if she was suspecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant. I guess it does, but who are you? The girl's pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai, Hajaan Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin Tezuka? Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. It's funny. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. Oh, that was definitely a joke, and that was funny. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate. Oh, come on. Get a sense of humor. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, as she seems to have lost interest in me, is now gazing yearningly back at her food. I would rather just be eating over there if we're gonna be awkward like this. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There is no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. That's in your opinion. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise. She has a point. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside? Grace's gonna ask? Come to a full stop. I'm opening my mouth, but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. Ren cuts me off before I can answer a question, or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I should have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. Well, it did kind of earlier that the girls asked you like what happened earlier. You could have talked about it, but you decided not to because they were new. Or I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances or Lily's either. You can't put yourself in other people's shoes? Okay. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be with an overly contented look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if her answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. My innards? The problem must be in your pants. Girl, what? This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered will catch me completely off guard. I think it might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Is my what? Still practically in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem, arrhythmia. I said it. More like blurted out, but I said it. The girl in front of me presses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Thanks. Trouble in pants would have been much more scandalous. What? What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. I collect people and what? You collect people? And a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. What are you talking about? Collect people. People with different problems. Huh. So you just go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away, but I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else, or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as the natural part of instructions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Isao. I have very serious heart condition. It's how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on. No, it's not. But you're not normalizing these things either. He's acting like this is some how dare you? But he also judges other people for their disabilities, as if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Yes, exactly. Yes, and you're making it define other people. You look at somebody and say that they're blind. You say somebody has a scar. You introduce them with that. You literally It's so contradicting. It's so stinging contradicting. He's feeling offended, thinking that he needs to introduce his disability, and yet he introduces other people with their disabilities. You are literally so contradicting right now. Or maybe this Tetsuga girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is burnt auburn, almost orange, and chopped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform, the lack of arms, makes her very thin, almost scrawny. She is not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs even when she eats. The distance and the shadow make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. You kind of have to, yeah, to be able to use stuff. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. Why should that discomfort anyone? It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. You are rude. You are so stinging rude, dude. So how do you always eat alone at this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors. Maybe you're first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, that girl earlier. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Wasn't her name like Ami? Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal in her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice of you. Don't feel obligated to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. No, I'm leaving, okay? I'm leaving. I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel like our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then, I'm Isao. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when somebody stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Isao. There is something like a tiny smile there on her face, maybe. I quickly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that! What did you hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looked aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visually excited. No, wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's not good, Hajaan. She wagged her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you were tardy. Oh, sorry, I got the things here. I was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hajaan. Who is in there with you, I wonder? What, you jealous or something? Misha signed something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligent attitude, the insolence of daring to face school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Ren, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. Please, girl, calm down. She shoots a very loaded stare at me, too, as if it was somehow my fault that Ren is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello? Ren's voice comes from the other side of the door and takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Ren directly behind it, looking at us with half-interested, sleepy eyes. Hello? Miss Tezuka, what do you think you are doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such a disgraceful activity. I'm sure it's suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune and Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, pointing at Ren, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? We'll be done for the festival. Ren looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I'll keep wondering about that myself, too. And? Well, we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Jeez, girl. Ren nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggled at that, but Shizune doesn't. It's not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha and Tao. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. Yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, they were. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. Yeah, that is true, too. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to an unforeseen future. Toodaloo. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back to the classroom. It's called a joke, my guy. Since you have nothing to do, why would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. You trying to fit a paint can into a bag? She kicks lightly at the huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I neatly pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now, with She's named Misha gone, as we too leave towards the stairwell on the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to the other, because the thin handle cuts into my palm, at least to keep the arm from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast. I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. What? Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. Why is this trouble? He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who has some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait passively because I can't even begin to guess what I forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some expected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Alright, so how are you? Everything fine? I gave up and dropped the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realized how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too, teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school, except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. This is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been in neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but this way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my butt off at the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. Pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. Bro, don't be sarcastic about this. They're talking about this because you need to be doing these exercises. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which she didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it will be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Very true. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Yes or maybe? I should honestly be doing my exercises. It is important and it is for my better health. So yes, I will be doing better about it. I will try and make a habit of it and do better about it. Yeah, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall, staring at the pale lighting fixtures on the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. There's really no need to lash out on her. It's like he's mad that he has this condition. It's nobody's fault, not even his own, that he has this condition. He needs to be able to come to terms with it, probably. But lashing out at anybody isn't going to do anybody any good. Even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. This is none of her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality, too. Talking about that kind of thing in public. It is not Ren's fault, is it? No, it's not. I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Ren is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there is some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. That just makes me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital, it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live as normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Ren leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It probably is the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of brick as the building itself, has covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is mere scratches, some quick lines drawn with the black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged and piled on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to mediate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from our class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfacing, whatever, which is the problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there's a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and it's faster too. But she goes on a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever it is there actually is to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton on her sleeve flaps around and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. Bro, why are you so mean? But it makes me feel so out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has the past few days. This is exactly what I was talking about. He's paying way too much attention to other people's disabilities and things and making it about like only that is what's about them. Yeah, he like lashes out about his own stuff. How dare you mention that about me? But also, I will only look at you for your disability. Like what? This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. It does, yeah. She finally stopped, apparently thinking she had made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project? You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels like I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but it's not hard to do. You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. It's just a different skill. It's just like with hands. You have to be able to draw with your hand to be able to draw the thing. It's just like with feet. You have to be able to draw with your foot to be able to draw with your foot. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figured painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I want to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Like, what do you mean by flat? Yeah, well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat, like some people are. No substance, no meat where there should be some. I know a few girls who, okay, I get it, but couldn't really tell. I'm not good with art. I can't name any artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that saying, suit yourself, without saying, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you would give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp with like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really makes me feel like the festival's a much more big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? Not really sure if I can be of any help though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems like, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Her thing has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I draw a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work every now and then asking me for a hand with something for the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green, some of those cooking things where they already have the things in the dishes and they're just like, just add this much. It's like, how much is in that bowl? I crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green! This green! I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corner of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just I have no idea. Well, does it look good to you? It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add some more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and that you saw in the meaning of life in your dream. I can't remember it. What color is that? Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing the paint being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints, crouching down, paving, and looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emanates a completely different air. She patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, suddenly moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I managed to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face was oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time, and even with those short discussions soon evolved into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to converse words and breaths and sound. We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Wonder what it'll look like after it's done.